Are you tired of watching your once romantic relationship spiral down the drain? Do you feel like no matter how hard you try, things just keep getting worse? Well, it's time to stop the madness. In this video, we'll be diving into the top 3 relationship killers that you absolutely must know in order to save your love life from crashing and burning. From communication breakdowns to trust issues, we'll be covering all the warning signs and providing you with the tools you need to get your relationship back on track. So grab a pen and paper because it's time to take some notes and get ready to save your love life. Communication is a crucial aspect of any relationship, and when it breaks down, it can lead to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and even the end of the relationship. That's why it's so important to prioritize open and honest communication from the get-go. But what does effective communication actually look like? Well, it's not just about talking. It's also about active listening and understanding your partner's perspective. It's about being able to express your own needs and feelings without attacking or blaming your partner. And it's about being willing to work together to find solutions that work for both of you. Unfortunately, there are many common communication pitfalls that can get in the way of effective communication. One of the biggest misconceptions is that communication is solely about conveying information. In reality, communication is also about building and maintaining relationships. If you're only focused on getting your point across, you might miss important cues from your partner or unintentionally shut them down. Another common pitfall is assuming that your partner can read your mind. Just because you know what you're thinking and feeling doesn't mean your partner does. It's important to be clear and specific about what you need from them and what you're feeling. If you want to improve your communication skills and avoid the common communication pitfalls that can harm your relationship, there are a few simple but effective tips you can follow. The first would be to practice active listening. This means giving your partner your full attention when they're speaking, asking clarifying questions, and repeating back what you've heard to ensure you understand them correctly. Another tip is to use I statements instead of attacking or blaming your partner. Doing this allows you to focus on your own feelings and needs so you can express yourself in a way that is less likely to cause conflict. For example, instead of saying, "You always make me feel angry," you can say, "I feel frustrated when this happens." Finally, avoid getting defensive when your partner raises an issue. Instead, try to stay open and curious about their perspective, and remember that you're on the same team. If you take these tips into consideration and prioritize open and honest communication, you can avoid the common pitfalls and use effective communication strategies to improve your relationship and avoid the dreaded communication breakdown. So start practicing those active listening skills and get ready to take your relationship to the next level. The next thing we need to talk about is something that can be a big challenge in relationships: incompatibility in values and goals. While it's natural to have differences in opinions and preferences, it can become a serious issue when you and your partner aren't on the same page about your values and long-term goals. So, why do shared values and goals matter in relationships? Well, when you and your partner share similar values and goals, it helps create a sense of unity and common purpose. You feel like you're working together towards something bigger than yourselves, and this can be incredibly rewarding. On the other hand, if you have fundamental differences in values or goals, it can lead to frustration, resentment, and ultimately, the breakdown of the relationship. So, how can you identify and address value and goal differences in your relationship? The first step is to recognize that these differences exist and are causing tension. Talk to your partner openly and honestly about your concerns and try to understand their perspective. Remember the tips in the previous section about effective communication. Don't try to change them or convince them to adopt your point of view. Simply listen and try to find common ground. When you've identified the areas where you and your partner have differences in values and goals, it's time to work on strategies to align them. One effective approach is to find compromise and middle ground that works for both of you. For instance, if you value financial security while your partner values freedom, you could work on finding a balance that satisfies both needs. This could mean creating a budget that allows for both financial security and some freedom to spend on activities that you both enjoy. Another strategy is to set shared goals that you both want to work towards. This can help create a sense of unity and purpose in your relationship and provide a basis for working together towards a common objective. For example, you could aim to travel together to a particular destination or save up for a down payment on a house that you both love. However, there may be situations where despite your best efforts, your values and goals are simply too different to reconcile. In such cases, it's important to reevaluate whether the relationship is right for both of you. This can be a difficult decision, but sometimes it's the healthiest option in the long run. Remember, it's better to acknowledge and address differences early on rather than allow them to fester and potentially harm the relationship. Incompatibility in values and goals doesn't have to be a relationship killer. If you recognize the issue, work together to find common ground, and stay open to compromise, you can create a strong, fulfilling relationship that supports both of your values and goals. Besides communication and shared goals, it's important to understand and prioritize your partner's emotional needs in order to maintain a healthy relationship. This means taking the time to listen and understand their feelings and being attentive to their needs. Neglecting emotional needs can lead to feelings of loneliness, disconnection, and resentment, which can damage the relationship over time. Common signs of emotional neglect in relationship include a lack of affection, frequent arguments, feeling distant or disconnected from your partner, and not feeling heard or understood. It's important to recognize these signs and take steps to address them before they become more serious issues. One way to nurture emotional connection and support in relationships is to practice active listening and empathy. This involves paying attention to your partner's words and body language and trying to understand their perspective without judgment. It's also important to express your own emotions and needs in a healthy and respectful way so that your partner can understand and support you as well. Another important point is to become mindful of one's own assumptions. It's almost automatic to assume that your partner has the same criteria for love as you do. But while one person might feel truly loved through a hug, it's more important for another person to do things together. It can be very helpful to communicate what you perceive as truly loving and to be open to the fact that your partner may have completely different needs. Other strategies for nurturing emotional connection in relationships include spending quality time together, showing affection and appreciation regularly, and being supportive during difficult times. Emotional support is a key component of a healthy relationship, and neglecting it can lead to feelings of disconnection and unhappiness. Prioritizing these emotional needs and taking steps to nurture emotional connection can strengthen your relationship and build a stronger foundation for the future. If you feel like these tips won't be enough to save your relationship, we highly recommend reading The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work by John Gottman, which offers practical and evidence-based strategies for building and maintaining a successful marriage. You can check it out in the description box below. And if you're not struggling with a romantic relationship in particular, but still want to improve other relationships in your life, you should also watch our other video, Family Stress? Gone in 5 Simple Steps, where we provide practical tips and strategies for reducing stress and improving communication in your family. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on our next video here on the Tree of Life channel.